Today, I'm joined by an artist, a producer, Robscure. Welcome to the podcast, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
So I recently met you. I was on tour with Wax. I met you at the Vermont show. You know, how was that for you, that Vermont show?
Dude, it was a cool full circle moment because I'm born and raised in Vermont my whole life. So I grew up going to higher ground. That's like where all the biggest names that would come through would go. And so it was cool to finally play there. And Wax too, like grew up listening to him, Palmer Square's You, so it was cool to play that show.
Dude, literally one of my favorite venues in the country because there was a cheese place next door that I loved. And then this time that I went, they had closed down, dude.
What was that place?
The place next door, I guess, like, dude, I heard from the venue staff that it was like tax evasion or something, but they had like it was like an artisanal cheese and like, you know what I'm talking about?
The one that's right next door.
Right next door, dude. Like, that's like where I would save up all my buyout money from the entire tours I'd go on and I'd spend it in that one place.
Yeah.
And like typically what would happen is I'd be in Vermont towards the end of tour and I live in Connecticut. So I'd be able to mail a package to myself. Someone would get it on the other side and then I'd be able to enjoy that package when I was home. So just want to start off this podcast by saying I'm devastated that cheese place is gone.
Devastated.
But what was it like growing up in Vermont, dude?
Man, you kind of had to make your own fun, make your own anything really, like music-wise. You know, it was a long time before I knew producers or other rappers or engineers it's just such a small scene that you really have to be like a self-starter. But I've really seen it take off over the past like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, like when you say make your own fun, like what are the kids in Burlington and what specifically area? Because I've only really been to Burlington. What area of Vermont are you from?
So I'm from central Vermont, pretty much like right in the middle, a tiny town called Washington. It's pretty close to the capital, Montpelier. Burlington is really the only big town. I mean, there's Rutland, but the rest of Vermont is all like pretty small, very rural towns. So when I say make your own fun, it's just like, I don't know, you got to have a hobby that's indoors because half the year is nasty weather, or you got to like skiing or snowboarding or just be an outdoorsy person.
Are you an outdoorsy person?
I'm definitely outdoorsy, but I'm a bad Vermonter in the sense that I haven't skied in like over a decade.
Yeah. Well, another thing that you brought up real quick, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit early on in the podcast, but you said that you shook hands with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Tell me that story real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So right now for my day job, I do catering, and I'm based in New York City. So we do some cool events. We did the Met Gala, the White Party when they were still doing like the 4th of July party. They did not do it this year because of Diddy. It's like too closely associated. Although he was never at any of the parties that I worked, thankfully. But yeah, did the Met Gala a couple years ago. Kendrick was there. I think he was talking to like Keith Urban or something, and I served him a drink, and I didn't want to like, you know, get up in their grill or anything, but I just took 10 seconds to just be like, thank you for everything you've done for music. Like, you know, I'm a big fan. Hope to talk to you again someday. Shook his hand. Although I will say he has that bar. He's like, I'm a good man. Shake your hand, firm grip, or something like that. It's not that firm. Like, on the scale of handshakes that I've had, it's not the firmest.
Damn, you got to give that information to Drake, dude.
No shade, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with 2-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Wait, you guys catered at the white party?
Yeah, so I did that twice and the Met Gala twice.
All right, we got to talk about this too, because people deeply associate, I am no conspiracy theorist by any means, dude, but people will associate the white party with the Illuminati and things like that.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've seen at those parties?
I mean, the thing that just surprised me the most was like current NBA players just like ripping blunts. I mean, granted, it is the off season, but, or is it even the off season in the summer? Yeah. The finals are in like June, so this is like July. But yeah, I was just surprised how like athletes treat their body in the off season.
Yeah. Other than that, nothing crazy to report. Like,
actually, there was. I think Megan Thee Stallion got in like a fight at the end of the last one. I don't know. That was a whole thing.
I don't know much about Megan Thee Stallion, but it seems like she's always getting into something too.
Yeah.
Because the Tory Lanez whatever situation too.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but it's crazy. So I want to pull it back to Vermont though.
Yeah.
You know, how do you find your way into music growing up in Vermont?
Yeah, I mean, that's back to the like make your own fun thing, right? I mean, I got into music. I mean, I was always into music. I grew up, my mom's like big into music, so I grew up with it. But my friend got me into like dance classes. Like I used to break dance, hip hop, shit like that. So that's how I kind of got into hip hop. And then started rapping just like to make my friends laugh. I did like parodies and shit like that. And from there, I don't know, it just became a hobby and, you know, something to do when there's nothing to do.
Did you have a go-to breakdance move?
Yeah, I guess I would say like the 6-step. Which, yeah, I'd have to, you know, I can't show you right here.
You have a video that we could overlay here, maybe?
Probably, yeah. I could probably find something.
All right, send that to me,
I got
dude.
you.
Dude, when I was young, I had a party trick move. I used to be able to do the worm.
Oh,
and
sick.
there's a theory that I could still do the worm. I just haven't tried in a very long time, dude.
It's impressive. I never mastered the worm.
It's a weird thing to like figure out, dude, because it's like how, you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember the moment where I was like, yo, let me just try this and just figure it out, you know? But dude, I would like bash my elbows here because I was like so bad. I guess I like wasn't doing it properly.
Yeah, we call it breaking because, you know, for a reason.
Yeah, no joke, dude. So what does it look like when you're recording your first song?
Man, my friend helped me record my first song. I had this closet in my room growing up that I never really used. And when I wanted to start recording, I just like tore out all the shelves and just like set up I think it was a Rode NT1A and a little interface, little MacBook, and he just helped me record it. And then from there, I threw up a bunch of quilts and stuff, put a rug down. So it's actually like kind of a nice booth now. Yeah.
Did you have a song that you released early on in your career that made you feel like, oh, maybe I could actually do this full time and like do this?
I feel like I took 4 years before I even put anything out because I wanted to develop the craft. So I kind of like, I feel like I must have felt that I was somewhat nice to even like start putting stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I think I have this song called Soothsaying that's kind of catchy. And like seeing that, I think that was my first experience of like doing a show and then seeing somebody actually know the words and singing it. And that was kind of a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this song like kind of stuck with somebody.
Yeah. What would you say that your biggest moment of success in music has been?
Man, I mean, honestly, that show was like pretty dope for me where we just met a couple of weeks ago. So that, I mean, my last project, getting some features on there that I had like grown up listening to, Locksmith and I mean, Jarv's my roommate, but you know, Jarv, Nate, those are my boys, but always looked up to them. So like collaborating with them was cool. Yeah,
let's talk about Jarv. So he was my Vermont artist on my 50 States project. I've actually never met him.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever met Jarv in person. Maybe we should double confirm that, but like I'm pretty confident we've never met, but I think I connected with him through Spose because I did the record with Spose, and he said, if you need Vermont, you got to have Jarv, is what he basically said. So I connected with him. We FaceTimed, but so you're Jarv's roommate, and you guys are also Vermont guys.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, what does that look like? Is he older than, like, what's the dynamic there and how do you guys connect?
So yeah, I have two roommates, Jarv and Nate. They used to be in a group called Maiden Voyage with Tease Love. Tease is in Vermont still, but they were like a 3-piece that when I first started getting into performing, I was like looking up to them because, like I said, Vermont's a small scene, so they were like a prominent figure to kind of model myself after. and they were actually them and Boomslang, another group from Vermont. Rest in peace, JL. They were the first people I ever opened for, my first show. So that's kind of how I know Jarv and them. And then they moved to New York like a year before me, and then we were both out here and just ended up living together.
Can you paint the picture of that first show? Like, what's that day look like and that whole experience?
Yeah, March 24th, 2018. It's now Bent Nail Bistro, but it was Sweet Melissa's right on the corner of Langdon in Montpelier. Man, yeah, it's one of my fondest memories. I was definitely like super nervous. There's still a video of it on YouTube, and I say like as the beat's about to drop, I like tell the crowd how nervous I am. But it was awesome. Like I had friends, family there, like people I'd known my whole life. It was just a beautiful night.
Yeah. What's something that like, if there was like one memory from that night that like stood out to you, did you get to connect with somebody, a conversation you had? Is there anything that?
Yeah, I had this track I used to do. I think I just called it Love or something. And the chorus was very simple. And it's basically like a call and response thing where people just shout like love. And just like hearing the whole crowd shout that was pretty dope.
That's sick. Earlier you mentioned Locksmith. You know, that's a good friend of mine. I have a couple records with Lock.
Really?
Yeah. How did you guys end up connecting?
I had hit him up in like 2021 to be on the project. He hit me back. I was surprised at like how accessible it was to contact him, but didn't have it in the budget at that time. So then just hit him up again later, and he was down to be on that track. And I think he knew of me through, I had done like some of his contests.
Oh, nice, dude.
And that's how I met Seuss Mace, who also ended up on the project. I don't know if you know him. He's like a Kansas City chopper dude.
It sounds so familiar, but let's talk about these contests because, you know, it's a way that like you've opened up an opportunity for yourself. And, you know, so Locksmith puts out this contest, and what do you do the second you see this being done?
Oh, just hop on it. Yeah. But I feel like I always see contests too late. You know what I mean? Like, people will let me know that there was a contest and then it's like already past the deadline or something. But I did a few of those, and it was cool because he would review that, or you could like go on YouTube and, you know, submit for him to like review your verse and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up because I think for a lot of artists that are out there, there's so many opportunities.
Oh, yeah, you got to do them.
And sometimes like artists just miss the opportunities that are right in front of them, you know, especially like if there's an artist that's like in a similar field as them, like, or niche or, you know, genre, like an opportunity to do Locksmith's thing, even if you don't win, it puts you on his radar. Right. You know what I mean? And like that applies to like any artist that's doing a contest too. Right. You know, I don't know if you remember, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Do you remember Funk Volume?
Oh, of course, bro. Yeah, I just met DJ Hoppa the other day.
Oh, Hoppa's amazing, dude. Yeah. Oh, so you were on another show with the Wax, or you went to go hang out with them?
I was able to go to the Wax and Palmer Square's show in New York at Mercury Lounge,
dude.
And he was DJing there.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. Hoppa's the man. He always drops. So I've been able to tour with Hoppa before, so I feel like he's just a man of wisdom, dude. He's like always dropping a lot of wisdom. But back to the Funk Volume thing. One of my early, like before Funk Volume split, they used to do the Don't Funk Up Our Beats contest. I don't know if you remember those. Yeah. And the last one they did, I actually did the video for the winner, dude. Damn. And but I remember that being like a moment, and it like put me on a lot of people's maps for the first time too. So I guess the takeaway of this little section that I'm talking about is like you should enter those contests because you never know.
1,000%.
So what are some of the things that you felt like came from, you know, like where did you end up winning it? Did you end up?
Nah, I didn't.
Like what did come from it?
I think the way Locke was doing them was, I don't even know if there was a winner. I think it was just like people were just like rapping over it. But I mean, I've done different like smaller contests, won some, like sometimes it's like $100, but it's more to your point. It's more usually for like the exposure and just meeting other artists through the contest.
Because a lot of the time with these contests too, like the actual winner might not always be the people's winner. You know what I mean? Because exactly. I've seen contests where like an artist has won, but then they're like, "Yo, what the heck? Like Rob should have taken this, dude." Yeah. You know what I mean? So like it actually puts you in front of a new audience. So I think it's important. But I want to get into your music, right? Yeah. So I know recently you did like a project where you covered the seasons or the elements. Can we talk about where that concept came and, you know, how you feel? How'd you go through the whole motions of getting that done?
Yeah. So that kind of came to me, I think in like 2020. I was living with my buddy, and he put me onto Avatar, which I was kind of a late bloomer with. Like,
great show, dude.
Last Airbender. Yeah. I don't know how I missed it my whole childhood, but got really into it, and it just sparked that idea of like, what would it be like to approach music that way, and try to like sonically bend the elements. So I just decided to embark on that, and kind of, I mean, on a much smaller scale than your 50 States project, but just like made the commitment to myself of like, I'm going to do all 4 elements. Took me like 4 or 5 years, did about 1 every year. And I started with Earth because it's kind of like the most basic, you know what I mean? Figuring your shit out. And it's by far like the roughest. And then did Air next, and then Water, and then finished with Fire. And man, I learned a ton through doing them. It was cool. Like, I think it kind of helped me get my producer chops up to figure out how to approach songs through that lens of like, what would it sound like to be underwater, or like, what does fire sound like? What does air sound like? You know what I mean? And obviously just had a ton of fun with like the bars, you know what I mean? Like the wordplay for all that shit. And I love being conceptual in music. So just like, I don't know. Yeah. Every song had a concept that was related to the elements.
So it's funny because like, I know what it's like to commit to a big project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think during these big projects, you end up learning a lot about yourself even. And so I want to go through each one of your projects in order and, try to give me the thing that you learned from each project. So you started with Earth.
For
like,
sure.
What's something that you learned from creating the Earth project?
I just learned I think that was maybe it wasn't the first project that I mixed myself, but I think it was the first project that I made beats for. So I kind of learned what it takes to create a song from scratch, start to finish. And it was the first time I really thought about kind of like a rollout for a project, and it just taught me a lot about discipline, you know what I mean? Earthly things, you know what I mean? Like the daily grind. And then Air, it is kind of funny how the projects matched up with like seasons of my life.
Yeah,
and I think
tell
that
me
makes
about
sense
that.
because I was like in the mind state for each one. So Earth, I was like 20, 21, so I was just living on my own for the first time, like, working, figuring out how to be an adult, really, just basic ground level stuff like Earth. And then Air was, friends started to move, relationships ending. It was kind of learning to like detach and let go. So I think that's when I moved to New York, 2022. So that kind of, it was like making peace with that.
Let's talk about that leap too before we get to the next project.
For sure.
Taking that jump from, what made you want to go from Vermont to New York?
I mean, it just kind of hit me one day that it would be a crime not to, right? If you're trying to make it in music or the arts or anything, and living like 6 hours away from the capital of the world for entertainment and art, it's like, I don't know, had to try it,
No, it makes sense to me. It's funny because like my perspective changed on this a lot because, there was a point in my life where I was about to make a leap and move to LA, but I never did. And, more recently I've been inspired to try to get it where I'm at. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I had the opportunity to go down to like Mr. Beast's, facility, which he built in his hometown. It's in the middle of nowhere, Greenville, North Carolina, dude. There's nothing. So I don't know. It's like funny, but I also take for granted that I am 40 minutes away from New York City. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like I'm as far away as like a 6-hour journey. So I think we do get like a little bit of trickle, even though surprisingly you would think because I'm next to New York City, I'm there a lot, but I go twice a year, 3 times a year. Yeah.
Well, it seems like there's a lot going on around here, but I really respect that about you, that you like have made it happen, like where you grew up. And I really, I kind of like, I want to represent Vermont hard, but you just kind of like hit your head quickly on the ceiling, of like what you can do, and you just need to scale up. But I go back and forth, and I always try to like represent Vermont and put it on the map, And
it's tricky though too, because it's like, you sometimes the resources aren't there. I think I'm lucky that there's a lot of resources here, like in Stamford, Connecticut, but you might not have like, because the thing is, you also want to surround yourself with other creatives too. And it's like, you might not have the video guys, the content creators. And like, part of the game is like, if you find yourself around these other creative people, that's how your stuff is going to get down the field, because it's like, you basically are just feeding off each other's energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Yeah, what was, before we move on to the next, like what you learned on the next project, you know, what was like one of like the harder things from like leaving Vermont going to New York?
Honestly, I mean, the things that people usually think are hard about moving weren't that hard, just because I think I was so excited to be in New York.
The
you know,
excitement
like,
outweighed everything else.
yeah, I mean, people are always like, oh, you moved there with no friends. Like, was that scary or whatever? Not really. Like, I'm kind of a solitary person. Like, I'm an only child. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So that was nothing new to me. And I guess it was definitely an adjustment. Like, the town I grew up in is like less than 1,000 people to a city of 8-9 million. But I don't know. I mean,
Little change, dude.
Yeah, a little change. But again, I was just so excited to be there that I don't know. I get the first year definitely like puts you through the ringer, just like the cost of living and just learning the subways and I don't know, just city life. But I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next project, dude. I'm curious what you learned on the next one.
Yeah. I think Water was kind of a turning point for me. Like a smoother sound. I actually got it was the first project I recorded on a SM7B.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah. That one, I produced like half the beats on that one, so I was like taking more of a front seat with production. Yeah, I feel like I was just honing my sound a lot more there, and that was like the first time I landed some bigger features too. I had CJ Fly and Soul Child on that.
I actually
project.
got to meet CJ Fly a couple years back briefly. I think he was on a show with Webby in Connecticut, but you know, how'd you end up connecting with CJ?
I think I just like saw him post that he was like doing a couple features, and I just, you know, hit him up and shot my shot. And I think he was working on his album Piranha with Stoic at the time. I don't know if you know the producer Stoic.
Yeah, definitely by name.
Yeah. He produced a track on Doechie's Grammy album.
Oh, insane.
But so yeah, I knew Stoic and kind of just reached out to CJ and was like, yo, I know, one thing leads to another.
Yeah, well, that's sick, dude.
Yeah.
And then what would you say the biggest takeaway from Fire was then?
Man, so yeah, Water was kind of like getting into like, I don't know, just getting in touch with your emotions and everything, you know, Water, like, right? Like the more emotional, sensitive side. But Fire was kind of the opposite, you know what I mean? It's like more, Water's like going with the flow. Fire is kind of like forging your own destiny or whatever, you know what I mean? Just like taking what's yours, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, you have 9 projects out?
Yeah, counting like small EPs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I counted.
You gotta
dude.
count them. Yeah.
You know, what was one of the hardest projects to work on out of all of them?
Probably the Water one probably took me the longest because I think I recorded it in like 2 different apartments and like back home, and I really got bogged down in the mixing. I'm a perfectionist, and that was the last project. By the end of that project, I was like, I never want to do this again. So the Fire project, I went back to outsourcing the mixing. Shout out to my guy Ethan Wilson at Grove Studios. But yeah, so the Water one, I just dragged it out with my, I don't know, neuroses.
Were you overthinking it a little bit?
Definitely, yeah, demoitis or whatever you want to call it. Like, just the longer you sit with something, you know, the harder it is to let it go, and it becomes a moving target, and you're trying to change it, and at a certain point, the changes are making it worse. So
What helped you get out of that?
I think eventually I just had to impose deadlines on myself and be like, I'm so done with this. Like, this is terrible for my mental health. I just need to be done with this, you know?
Yeah, no, I relate to the sentiment heavy because, you know, as you know, I did this 50 States project.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I had to give myself a serious deadline too. Like, I made myself, so a lot of people don't know this, but like, you know, I knew since when I got to the halfway point, I was like, okay, my deadline is July 4th, 2025. Like, that's the day I was like, if it's not going to be New Year's, it's going to be July 4th. You know what I mean? Because what better day to drop a 50 States project? But there was a lot that had, like, people underestimate too. It's like, yo, by that time I had to make like 25 songs, which is like
so many. And
it's, keep in mind, I'm like waiting on verses from artists, dude. Like, every song is a feature song, and like, you know, waiting on features sometimes can be a nightmare. But you know, I think imposing deadlines is very important because it's funny, the deadline that I made for myself was my friend who went into the Mr. Beast video. I knew he was in a 100-day challenge, and I was like, probably at that point I had 20 songs left. I was like, all 20 of these songs need to be done by the time he gets out of the Mr. Beast challenge. And I think I got to like 19. And I was like, the week that he got back, I like put a cap on that one and I was like done. But it felt good. And like, to your point though, like I kind of just had to like send it where it's like,
yeah.
There things I would have tweaked and changed with the project? For sure. But the big thing that 50 States taught me, and maybe you can relate to this, is done is better than perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. We're not shooting for perfect anymore.
Yeah.
Did you have to like, how much advanced planning? Like, was it, I imagine you couldn't have achieved that if you had just done one song at a time. I imagine you were like waiting on certain verses and had to look like 10 songs ahead.
I was definitely in a huge, just, I wasn't as far ahead as you would think. I think when I started the project, maybe I probably was like 6 or 7 songs in, because part of me was like, I really wanted to do this in real time, where it's like, I'm actually finding the artist in real time and doing it, which makes it a lot harder, because the thing is, I wanted the public to be able to suggest the artists. You know what I mean? That was like a big part of it for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but with that came, you know, a lot of tight deadlines and trying to find artists that would be willing to accommodate these deadlines. Like there's a lot of artists, bro, without exaggeration, I probably talked hundreds and hundreds of artists, maybe like 400 artists.
Holy
like
shit.
For the 50 States project, where like a lot of them fell through because they couldn't hit deadline. Dude, there's a lot of people I had to like I was like, yo, if you don't have it in by this day, it's like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's very, very few people like
Damn.
I waited on for that project just because it was so because if I had waited on all those artists, the project wouldn't be done today. You know what I mean? I was like,
Absolutely.
dude, like I'm on, like I have like this is very serious in my life, dude. So
Yeah.
and you know, I think it opened up a lot of opportunity for like independent artists to shine on the project, which I think is really great.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done it different. I don't know if I would do it again, but but taking these big commitments, you know what I mean? Like after you did like the Elements project, you know, do you see yourself doing a project where you're like committing to like a theme like that again?
I think so, because I love a good task, you know, like a challenge for myself. And I love the satisfaction that comes with seeing something through. But at the same time, I don't really like the postpartum depression that comes with like putting years or however long of your life into this thing. And it's like, now what do I do with myself? So I don't know. I think I will keep wanting to up the ante and like do more ambitious stuff. But at the same time, at a certain point, I mean, even after that project, I'm like, I just want to do throwaway singles now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for a year, I just want to do something that's like less pressure before I dive into something that's like so planned out, you know?
Yeah, I actually feel that spiritually, dude. And it's like, because it is like a big task, and like, you know, you want these projects to, like, when you pour your heart and soul in a project, you want them to be like these like massive game-changing things. And I think in a lot of ways, 50 States did change my life. But to me, it's not like something that like, you know what I mean? Like it definitely moved the needle for me, but it's not something that like I feel like, oh, everything has changed now. You know what I mean? Like, but maybe just my mindset and like how, because before it, I might have been very particular, kind of like how you were on Water.
Right.
But like by the time I got to the end of 50 States, like they were sending me mixes, I was like, yo, it's good. It's good, dude.
Like,
it's good.
Not even finished all the way through. You're like, sounds good.
Yeah, I was just like, towards the end of it, like I just had to. And like, just learn and like also trust the people around me. Like if my engineer is saying it's good, then it's good, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I tried not to be, but old Mike Squires was not like that, dude. Old Mike Squires would have been like, yo, listen to like 43 seconds. Do you hear that little like fuzz? Like you hear it, like, you know what I mean? It's like you hear that little like, now go back to it. Like you hear that? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, yo, but like really, let's put the volume up so you can, and, you know what I mean? Can you mute the snare so you can hear it? Like that's like how I used to be, dude. But I think that just comes to caring. But at a certain point you realize like people don't even care about that stuff, dude.
No. And I mean, it's good to be able to hone in. Sometimes that's what sets you apart from people, to like the attention to detail. But it's also good to have the skill of just like moving on to the next thing. And I imagine doing something like making 50 tracks in that timeline, like, I don't know, just makes it easier. Like, cause the less, I see this with like peers a lot, like the less you put out, the more precious you are about what you do put out. And the more you put out, the more you're just like, if people find something wrong with this one, I'm already on to the next one, you know? Yeah,
and that's what I think that applies to everything. I think that applies not to just music, like content too, dude. I have been throwing content at the wall. I like aim to post something at least every single day.
Yeah.
And I've grown more on social media just by not being so precious about it. And like, it's funny because then you'll spend all this time on an edit and it won't do anything, but then you'll take the video on your phone and it like goes crazy. You know what I mean? So
know.
like I've just learned to just throw it out there. It's going to do what it's going to do, because my logic is like, if it doesn't do any views or anything, then nobody saw it anyway. So it's like, who cares?
Right.
But then if someone, like, if it does great, then it's like, oh, that was worth posting. You know what I mean? So, but I think it all just adds. And I think if it's all true to you, like, you know what I mean? Like, I posted a video of me like on stage at a concert the other night, and it was like a dumb video, but I was like, yo, this is funny to me, so I don't care. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Do you have like an approach with like your social media?
Man, I wouldn't give myself enough credit to say I have an approach. I kind of just, I think I try to not overpost. Like I try to post, but maybe I should just be like throwing shit at the wall more so. Cause I've realized it's like, to your point, like the things that you thought were the most polished or well put together is like the algorithm's like, nope. And then you throw something random or just like a selfie and that's what gets, you know, the most engagement. So I don't know. I've kind of just realized that people actually like that less filtered version of you. You know what I mean? They don't.
Oh, the raw, dude.
Yeah. They want to be able to relate.
And I think the algorithm, from my experience at least, rewards that too. Like, dude, I mean, I have all the camera equipment in the world.
Yeah.
All my videos are shot on my phone. I like literally shoot on my phone and I hold my phone like this, dude.
Yeah.
And like, those are the ones that go crazy, because it's just you talking to the camera. And like, I think there's an art to like editing the social media videos that I've like become a nerd over. You know what I mean? But I think with that, you know, I found a lot of success. You know, Instagram just released the Edits app relatively recently, and like probably like April-ish. And dude, ironically, the first video I posted with the Edits app was my Macy's video, dude. So ever since that happened, I was like, all right, I'm using this app forever because I love it, because it's like they're editing. But what I was going to say with the Edits app, you can go in and see like the retention rates. You can see where people stopped, like scrolled off. You can see, so if you want to become a nerd with that stuff, I don't think it's good for everybody, but like, you know, if you want to become a nerd, like you'll find results where it's like, and learn like what works and what doesn't, because you might find that you have a fire video, but then on the last 3 seconds it dropped off. Like if you were to get rid of those last 3 seconds, like that video would actually do something for you. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that I learned in that, dude.
Totally, yeah. I don't know. I'm on the fence about like, do I want to go down the rabbit hole and like learn how to kind of capitalize on that?
Yeah.
I'm very like aversive to social media. Like I don't like, I'm not on social media except really to post. You know what I mean?
Most artists are. Like what makes you feel this way?
I mean, I like growing up, I wasn't really allowed on screens that much. I had like an hour of like TV and like an hour of computer time a week pretty much until like high school almost. So I don't know. I just like, and I was kind of right on the fringe of like I got a phone I think when I was maybe 14. Thank God that I grew up without it, you know, like without
I think I might be on the same wave
as
as you, dude. I don't know where 14 lands in age, but I think I got mine in 7th grade, if that sounds right.
Yeah, that's about that. So I'm thankful that I had like a normal childhood before. Now kids are like babysat with iPads, you know what I mean?
That's the whole plot of the next Toy Story movie, dude.
Oh, they're doing a 5th?
Yeah, they're doing a 5th,
No
and it's
way.
all like iPad. Like the iPads are like the evil
The
ones.
toys?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
the next thing, yeah.
Damn. But yeah, I think that's why I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just not wired. I don't know. I'm not naturally savvy with it, and it just feels frustrating because it's so like, I don't know. Like when you do a project, even if the project doesn't do what you wanted it to do, it's still like, you still have that as part of your catalog forever. You know what I mean? Where it's like social media, everything just feels more temporary and less like meaningful. So,
I call them darts, dude. I mean, I call songs darts too, where it's like, but with social media especially, it's like, you basically just throw them out there and every once in a while you'll hit a bullseye. But it's, to me, it's tough like being an artist and not like embracing social media, because that's where the conversion is. You know what I mean? Like I see it all the time. Like one of my good homies, Doss, like he has a song called Smooth Criminal and it's done well for him, but I think it's because of his TikToks has done really well. You know what I mean? Doing the song, and like it's been able to, you know, so it's tricky. I think it's a hard game. Like I think they just come one and one. Like I'd be curious your thoughts on this, but I truly believe that like if you are an artist, you're low key like a social media content creator too.
Yeah, you have to. It's a necessary evil, and that's why I'm on the fence. Is because I know like I've embraced the reality of it, and I'm just like deciding how involved I want to be with it. I think ideally I just want to like do what I was gonna do anyway. You know what I mean? In terms of like videos, songs, and just find a consistent, sustainable way to like break that up into bite-sized pieces that you know what I mean? So it doesn't feel like I'm doing extra shit.
Yeah, no, and I think like maybe I'm just like at a weird spot in my life, but like I've been able to kind of like create this where it's like I kind of know what I need to do content wise. You know what I mean? Where it's like, and it's kind of instilled in me where it's like yesterday I shot this quick video in the mall, just like I was like, yo, and it took me probably from start to shooting to editing 7 minutes, less than 10.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because I just do it all on my phone. But I asked my friend Phil, and I was like, yo, can you just ask me these couple of questions? And then he did that. The video took probably 2 minutes to shoot because I like knew what I was going to say. Quickly throw it into the edits app, edit it, and then just post it and just let it do its thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think just being able to like have that, like somebody, I forget what exactly they said, but you want to make your life, not make your life the content, but you like want to make it so it's like, you're not going out of your way to do it, and it's just kind of part of what you're doing. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't know the secret to success, but I also think you got to find out like what works for you too. Like I think what works for me might not work for anybody. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a messed up game where there's no pure right or wrong reason to success.
And it's always changing. Like as soon as one thing starts to work, they're like the whole algorithm does a 360, you know?
Yeah, I'd be curious, what's a big challenge that you've had in your music career that you had to overcome?
It's a great question. I mean, lots really. Like, I think starting off just not knowing people, but that was also a blessing in disguise of like learning how to do things myself. But yeah, I mean, really just not knowing people is the hardest thing, and just being like a solo artist from a small place where there's not an established scene, and you're just kind of like starting from ground zero in terms of connections.
Yeah, who would you say one of your first people you connected with in music was?
Well, I mentioned boom slang earlier. This dude, said one, Dustin, and JL, rest in peace, Johnny. They were part of a group in Central Vermont, and they kind of mentored me when I was in high school, put me on my first show, and then like connecting with Maiden Voyage, like Jarv, Nate, Tees. They definitely they're like 5-6 years older than me, and you know, kind of like gave me props, and that went a long way, and you know, then was able to like be in contact with them and learn things from them, and then especially now living with them, just like seeing how they operate behind the scenes and what goes into like doing this independently has gone a long way for me.
Yeah, what's something that you see for yourself in the future?
Man, I mean, I have a lot of dreams with this shit. Like, you know, I want to tour the world. I want to have a studio. Those are the big two, really. I mean, I have, you know, a studio, like a home studio, but I want to have like like your space, like a dedicated studio space.
It's funny. My mom just sent me a picture of my home studio this morning, and she said came a long way. That's literally the text I got from my mom this morning. I was like,
that's sick.
Yeah, I was like looking at it. I was like, oh man. That's
a single cover right there. That screenshot that.
Yeah. No, it's funny. My bed's mad messy. Or actually, my bed's not messy. There's not a single blanket on the bed. It's just completely just a straight mattress. But
damn.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like, it's a good feeling to have your, like, this luckily fell into my lap a little bit. You know, I got lucky with this space, but it is good having like a creative space. Yeah. And with touring, like, I mean, you're doing a lot of shows. Like, that's how I met you, you know? And I think like by consistently doing the shows, like the opportunity will inevitably present itself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, in your eyes, like, what do you see, like, how do you see yourself making this happen? I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I think I'm doing some of the right things. So I think I need to keep doing what I'm doing and just continue to like innovate on that and be more savvy. I mean, like we were talking about this earlier. It's just like being an independent artist without a team or a manager. It's like the minute you focus on one thing, shows, it's like then you're not making as much music. You know what I mean? You're in album mode. It's like you don't have time for shows. Or you're focusing on promo, you're letting this fall by the wayside. You're focusing on merch. At least for me, I mean, you seem to be on top of your shit and doing, like, basically doing it all. So that's where I'm trying to get to, is right now it feels like something's always falling by the wayside. So I just want to, like, I think I've learned a lot with this last rollout, like merch-wise, rollout-wise, visuals-wise. So I just want to, like, get that down to a science where it's almost like autopilot juggling. And really what I need to delve more into is like the business side of it. And that's my
what don't you know, dude? Because that's like something like, dude, I like am very passionate about the business side of music, dude. I studied it so hard to like learn all of it, dude, and get an understanding.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I know the terms BMI and ASCAP. I have no idea what they stand for. And shit like that. You know what I mean?
If it makes you feel better, I don't know what they stand for. Like, I couldn't tell you, but I know that I have a BMI. But yeah, like that's something we could talk about, and you know, maybe we hop on text or some or call or anything. But like, you know, making sure that you're collecting all your royalties properly, and just because it's a process, and making sure you're registering your songs, like, because I find that a lot of artists out here aren't collecting their royalties properly. I had a bunch of homies I helped, like, dude, I had a homie that like was due thousands of dollars in publishing royalties that were just sitting on the table. And a lot of people don't know this. If you don't collect your publishing royalties, like basically all your royalties from 3 years ago are gone. Like 3 years and back, like they go into what's called the black box and they just disappear, dude.
What?
You know what I mean? So you got to collect these royalties, dude. It's like, it's like a whole thing. And there's like this huge, like basically accumulation of money that like has just non-paid out royalties, dude.
Wow.
Because artists aren't collecting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so that's really what I need. Like this year, I would love to get my shit together with that, you know? I need.
What do you use for distribution?
I use DistroKid.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
I was hoping I took a shot out there, the sponsor of this video. Like, but yeah, no, DistroKid's great, dude. Like, and I don't mean to like bring it to the sponsor real quick, but like, I mean, that's what I use for all 50 States project, and they're just super reliable and have helped me, dude.
Yeah.
Your music has definitely made it out the country, because I know you did a collab with a UK artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, shout out to Lorax, Lordy Low. Just put out a track with him and my boy Levy. It's very like minimalistic. Lev plays flute on it. It's like very stripped down, melodic, kind of like back and forth. Yeah, I don't know. I've been lucky with like all the collabs I've done. Like it seems like people have really understood the assignment and they're not just phoning it in. Like basically it was like 2 8-bar verses that I sent with 2 8-bar spaces in between. And he sent it back and like really just like matched the flow I was going for and like concept wise. So it's really like, it's as if we were in the same room, like writing it together.
Yeah. How'd you get connected with Lorax?
I saw him first at the same show that I saw Soul Child, which was
who you also have a song with.
Yeah. I saw them both at SOB's, and it was just like pretty legendary venue in Manhattan. It was just a hip hop showcase. So
you guys connected there.
Yep.
And then why were you at that show?
I think it was Stoic was playing that show, and I wanted to meet him. I met him at that show, rapped for him, got connected with him. But I actually didn't meet Lorax there. I met him in Washington Square Park randomly and got to talking with him there. And he's kind of back and forth between the UK and New York. So we did a show together like last September. And and we actually did that track there. So it's been in the works for a while, but finally got it out.
I think one of the best advice that I'd give to people too is like, especially if you're trying to make it in music, is just show up. Like go to the events and meet people, because this whole game is like who you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and just being able to connect, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, and, you know, I hear you talk about it, and it's like, you know, you guys ended up doing a record too, which is like, you know, I'm sure growing up, you wouldn't expect like, oh, I'm going to do a record with this dude from the UK.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I got to shout out my guy, Leon DC too, actually, because now that I think about it, I actually have a couple tracks with him from a couple years ago, and he's also a UK guy, but he's a singer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's an obvious question, because I know your name has a double meaning. So it's like Robscure. Like, you know, I'm going to let you break it down, dude. Break it down for us.
Yeah, Robscure. I'm lucky that I feel like I landed on a pretty good name early on, because I wouldn't want to change it and have to rebrand and all that. So yeah, it's kind of always been Robscure. Yeah, I mean, my name's Robin, but people call me Rob a lot. So Rob, Obscure, Robscure. But if you separate right in the middle, it's also like Robscure. So I don't know. It just kind of speaks to like my name, you know, who I am originally, the authenticity that I try to convey in the music, the obscurity of my sound kind of, it's very underground, sometimes more experimental. And, music is therapeutic. So it's like Robscure.
Yeah. I have another question because I feel like we're missing something here, dude. Tell me a story that I wouldn't know, no one would know, like just a crazy story about something that could happen in music, could have been out of music, that happened in your life that we wouldn't know.
Oh, man, dude, I'm always so bad when people like ask for a story on the spot. Damn. Can we come back to this question?
Yeah, we can.
All right. I'll see if something.
I'll ask you what your message is to the world then.
Man, that's a lot of pressure.
I do it every time, dude.
Yeah. So I'll look at the camera for this one.
Yeah.
Just focus on what you're good at. I don't know. I usually try to do too much, but for a long time I was like, I don't know, trying to be a hero and like do too much. And I think, I don't know, it comes from a good place, but just focus on what you're good at. Cause I think ultimately you have to focus on yourself first to like be the best version of you to other people. You know what I mean? You have to kind of make sure you're solid. And I think the best thing people can contribute to the world, I wouldn't worry so much about what everybody else says you should be doing. I would just find what you like doing, what you're good at, and focus on that and find a way to make that of service to other people.
Yeah, there's an art to delegating things too. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I struggle with even to this day, but, finding people that are like masters at their craft and like, trusting them to, like, I think a great example for me, and, you spoke about it for your fire project, is like, having somebody else engineer it. You know what I mean? Just take the pressure off you to like try to do everything so that this way you can really focus on, creating the music versus like, well, now I got to mix this too. And you know what I mean? Cause then it takes from your time, and it's like, you need the time to make things great. And, building a team around you, and even if it's not a team, just like hired guns just to help you out. Like, I think it's really important, but it's a hard art to do. Cause like, trusting people, like how did you end up finding like the engineer for fire? You know what I mean? Cause it's like, sometimes I find it's hard. Like you'll find an engineer and it's like, maybe they don't complement my sound in the way I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Outsourcing. You need to outsource to like keep yourself from going crazy because you can't do everything and you start to lose perspective when you try. But it's also to your point earlier about waiting on people for verses. Like the more you outsource, the less in control you are of the timeline. So it's kind of like a trade-off.
Yeah, no, I know that reality all too well, dude. Yeah, there was like some points too, and like maybe we talk a little bit on like mental health and music real quick, but during the end of 50 States, bro, like there was like calls, like I was getting calls from like my friends and I was talking to them and I like things that I should have remembered about them. Like my mind was in such a crazy spot because I was trying to get like 20 songs done in the course of like 2 months at that point. And I just remember like talking to my friends and they're like telling me things about like their kids that like I knew, but I just was like, I like almost forgot. Like I was unable to remember things that I should have known. And I was like, oh man, mentally I'm in a bad spot right now. Cause like, I just had such immense pressure on myself, dude. So, do you deal, like what type of hiccups do you deal with? Like, we talked a little bit about overthinking, but are there any other like mental hiccups you face when in music?
Yeah. I feel like most artists like have self-doubt, right? So I think, I don't know, when it comes time to put something out, it's the tug and pull of like finally deciding to let it go. But then right before you put it out, you get that panic of like, is this trash? You know what I mean? Or like, what are people I don't know. I think I overthink how people are going to interpret lyrics because most people don't really listen to lyrics like I listen to lyrics, or like a hip hop head like you would. And most people just like, they just hear the beat and the vibe and everything. Not to say people don't listen to lyrics, but it's like most things, details, a lot of them are going to go unnoticed. But I get in my head as a writer a lot about like, are people going to misinterpret what I'm trying to say here? So I don't know. I think I just do a lot of overthinking, and I don't know. I realize that you can't control people's reactions, and that's kind of a beautiful thing if you embrace it.
Oh yeah, like you really can't like, dude. It's funny. My mom like because people will say everything. I get like hate comments on my stuff, and And like, not that many. I'm not like, I mean, I get them, but like, it's not like a crazy amount. But my mom will send and she'd be like, yo, you should delete those. And I was like, Mom, like, I'm not going to sit here. Like, I was like, one, if it's their opinion, they're entitled to it too. It's like, if I sat there all day long and deleted hate comments, dude, I would be there and it would be so terrible. Like, the truth is, like, the thing that's helped me at least is like, I just don't take anything personally from people that don't personally know me. Yep. You know, it's one thing if like one of my day one homies comes and checks me and he's like, yo, like, dude, you've been crashing out. Like, you got to stop doing But if it's somebody who I don't know who's like never spoken, I'm like, dude, what do you mean? You know what I mean? It's like your words hold no weight to me. You know what I mean?
And I think it's actually a good sign if like to have some haters. You know, it means you're doing something that's making people jealous and they're taking time out of their miserable lives to tell you how much they hate it. You know what I mean? It's better to have people who love it and hate it than everyone just being lukewarm about it.
That's how I feel. My homie Atlas actually changed my perspective on hate.
Atlas, like, the rapper? Like
singer. He did the song with a lot of swears in it that I remixed. He did You're a Effin' B. Hope you know that S.
Oh yeah, I think I know that.
I try to pull back from swearing, so that's why I said that. You. But anyways, Atlas gave me a call once and he's like, you know, hate's actually a good thing because hate is the algorithm pushing your stuff to new people. And it's like, why, like, that's what you want at the end of the day is you want more people to see your stuff. And he's like, not everyone's going to love it. So ever since he said that to me, like every time I see a hate comment, I'm not like, yes, you know what I mean? But like a part of me is like, oh, that's great. You know what I mean? It like flips the perspective a little bit, you know? So I was like, okay, like it's better. Like if seeing, it goes to exactly what you said though too, you know? It's like, but yeah, no, I have a post I made about Connecticut that like I took a Joe Rogan snippet where he's talking smack about it and then put a Connecticut music video that we did. Bro, that was one of the most toxic comment sections I have ever seen in my, bro, it's like hilarious. And I still get them every single day though, but it's like, it's not directed at me. It's just directed at Connecticut in this instance. But bro, it is like a toxic comment section. I'm just like, dude, I set the video. I don't even look at it anymore. I'm just like, there are people arguing like, so.
It's worse when like someone, like some other page reposts your stuff because then it's like the people don't know you, so they really don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Then it's a lot of hate. But I don't know. I try to not give too much stock to even like positive comments. Like that can go to your head just as easily. And then you get complacent of like, I'm the shit. You know what I mean? So I kind of just try to appreciate the positive comments and even appreciate like the hate comments and just like honestly just keep it pushing.
Yeah, it just goes, I think my whole thing too, it's like if they don't personally know you, don't take it personal. And that's for good and bad. You know what I mean? It's like, cause the positive can be terrible too. I've seen it get to artists' heads where it's like, all right, dude, like I get it, but like, you know, we're still all come back down to earth for a second with me, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm going to pull the one I think, did you ever come up with that story?
Yeah. I thought of one.
Yeah, let's talk about that and I'm going to take you out of here, dude.
All right, sounds good. So earlier this year, me and my ex broke up on the day that Trump got inaugurated. So already kind of a crazy, not the best day. And then I'm on my way to my friend's house to, you know, just have somebody to talk to. And I got my fucking phone stolen. So yeah, it was kind of just a triple whammy that day. I was just like running up the subway steps, checking my phone to like see when the train came. There was this dude at the top and he was like trying to talk to me, but the train was pulling in, so I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And but he was kind of like engaging me, like whether I liked it or not. And he kind of like pointed to the other side of the platform, so I thought he was trying to help me, like know which train to take. So he kind of made me look, you know what I mean? And I think he crossed me up. And this is like January, so I'm wearing a big puffy coat. So I think the phone was either in my hand or like in my pockets. But somehow he crossed me up. Didn't feel a thing. And then I was like, okay, gotta go. I see what train I'm supposed to get on. I'm like going down. I look back. He's still looking at me. And I'm like, that's weird. This dude's weird. I get on the train. I'm like, we're off to the next stop. And then I'm like feeling for my phone. It's fucking gone. And I'm like, damn, he was looking at me to see if I had noticed that he just swiped that.
Yeah, dude, I've been pickpocketed before in my life. So I
got caught.
Dude, as you were saying that, I was in France, dude, and I must have either dropped it or like he could see it sticking out of my pocket because I had this dude. He was like mad obvious about it, and I was like, "What the hell is he doing?" So I'm standing there in this like falafel place, and this dude like is dropping his wallet, but like in a way where it's like it's not like he's like, it's not like he's like this. He's like throwing it like that out, and oh yeah, you're good, dude. The homie of Sean Woodhouse, dude. But so he's throwing it out like that, and he's throwing it out, and like he goes to grab it, and then he does it like 3 times, and I'm like, what the hell is this idiot doing? And then I went to go pay for my falafel, and my 20 whatever it was, my 20 euro was gone out of my pocket, and I was like, dang. I was like, I think it must have fell out of my pocket, I guess, and like he snagged it, because then he was like looking at me laughing, and I was like, damn, what a terrible memory. He also was wearing a Canadian tuxedo, both jean jacket and jeans. So yeah, he looked like an evil villain. He had like the little like mustache too, dude. Like
the curly one.
So yeah, I got being pickpocketed is not fun, dude.
Not fun. And I know about that in Europe, and obviously it's like New York. It's like you're supposed to be on guard, but it's I don't know. I'd lived there for 3 years and like never heard of anybody getting it. But yeah, people. Yeah,
I do have one more question that has come to mind before we get out of here. What was one of the craziest things that you dealt with when moving to New York, or one of the things that you witnessed once you got there?
The first year, like I said, really puts you through the ringer. Like I remember I moved there in March, and I think just in May, it was like walking back from work one night. There was like this dude laying in the street. Like people were around him. I went up, called 911. He had been hit by a car. I'm pretty sure he died. I don't really know what happened. I wrote a song about it. My first apartment I moved into, I overlapped with the old tenants for one night, and there was like a domestic dispute there. Like multiple domestic disputes happened that it's like I tried to intervene, and that's sometimes you don't know how. That happened. That same apartment, me and my friend were shooting a video, and I like turn around to talk to my friend, and then there's just like shots getting let off behind us, and there's like these 2 dudes shooting at each other like 20 feet away from us, and so just a bunch of fucking New York shit happening in like the first few months that I lived there.
Do you feel like you had like a big culture shock because of this?
Yeah, it's a lot all at once, but I feel like New York does that. It just like it puts you through the gauntlet for the first year to see if you can hack it, and then it's like chiller. Because I always hear that like when people visit, they have like the craziest experience on the subway. But I ride the subway every day, and it's like usually not that crazy.
Yeah. On the flip side, tell me some of the best things about moving to New York.
I mean, just the people that I've met. You know what I mean? Like getting to be in close proximity with like people that I've been a fan of, and just like talk to them. And I was also pleasantly surprised by how I'll shout out this dude Granada, who I'm a fan of. He has this bar. Big cities are made up of small towns. No one smiles at you, but they help you if you fall down. And that's about a song about New York. And that's kind of been my experience. It's like, people say people in New York are kind but not nice, and the opposite of people in LA. And I don't know about LA, but it's kind of true in New York. It's like people are on their grind, and they won't smile at you, but if you fall down, they'll be there to pick you up. So I've been pleasantly surprised by that.
Let's go, dude. If people want to connect with you or find you, how can they?
It's Robscure on everything, ROBSCURE.
Yeah.
All streaming platforms, social media. Actually, I deleted Twitter, but everything else, yeah.
Yeah, and tell us about like some of the music that you just dropped.
Yeah, so I got a new album out, Fire, Forged in Rare Ethos, the fourth and final installment of The Elements. Everything's on all the platforms, except my first 50 so tracks. Those are deep cuts on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. And yeah, just I've been doing ciphers with Vision Media, who are based out of New York and Vermont. So we're doing monthly ciphers. The first one's, it's on YouTube and streaming. Just dropped that single Blippy with Lorax and Levy, and I got another one coming later this month.
Well, let's go, Rob. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, my guy. Thank you for taking the trip, dude.
You're the man.